morning.
Good morning.
My apologies for being late. My sincerest apologies. Now, this morning, thank God for coming out. Can you all see me?
Yes,
Okay, great. Okay, the awesome privilege is mine to introduce to you our very first presenter for today. Now, he is born to Clayson and Lynette in Kingston at a time when the inner city was the bedrock of honesty, strong family values, and ambition. And when the community still believed that it took a village to raise a child. He attended the Central Branch All-Age School and was part of a record-breaking class of successful common entrance graduates in 1974 who went to the premier secondary institution in the corporate area. He attended St. George's College, graduated in 1979, and from sixth form in 1981. This was where he discovered the diversity of the Jamaican society. Brushing shoulders and matching weights with peers from a broad cross-section of the island's socioeconomic demographic. It was in this crucible that he was constrained to seriously contemplate his identity and what it meant to be resolute and resilient despite the absence of financial wealth. Role models are Muhammad Ali, Fidel Castro, Julius Nyerere, and all our national heroes. He volunteered to become a union delegate at the Jamaica Mutual Life Assurance Society while employed there for 13 years. Since then, he has continuously embraced the philosophy of citizens and workers across access to justice, fair play, and due process. He transitioned to the union movement full-time as a union officer or senior negotiator with the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union for over a decade, representing ordinary workers in all sectors of the economy and from all walks of life. He represented the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions locally and overseas extensively, traveling the major islands of the Caribbean, to Switzerland at the International Labour Organization, and to the Far East in Japan as part of a Central American and Caribbean delegation. Our presenters studied at the Trade Union Education Institute, UWI Mona, the Institute of Business at the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies, Trinidad, and the City and Guilds of London Institute. Recruited into management by the Caribbean Cement Company in 2008. He was employed to the Bauxite Company in Discovery Bay, St. Anne, and most recently as Human Resource Manager and subsequently HR Director in the hospitality industry at Bahia Principal Resort, Jamaica. Major management focus on alignment between company goals and objectives and employee competencies, conscious of the need to facilitate employee satisfaction to achieve equilibrium and sustainability. He has served as the Board of Directors of the Heart Trust NTA and also Chairman of the Corporate Governance Committee. He's the former Chairman of the Harborview Primary School. He had been there for 4 years. He mentors youth in the community of Portmore. He is an avid sports fan or fanatic of all sports except golf. He's a training a dog whisperer with a pack of 5 canines, at home. He's a father, a grandfather, an environmentalist. He's a perennial optimist. Now, you've heard that multiple. His philosophy is, there is so much more to life than money. I believe that too. And I speak of none other than Mr. Clayson. Can I give them your middle name?
Yes.
Mr. Clayson Anthony Panton. And let us make Mr. Panton.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. It is my pleasure, my privilege, and my honor to be here with you this morning. I was sharing earlier with, what's your name, please? By the camera? What's your name?
Rolinda Campbell. Rolinda Campbell.
Rolinda. I was sharing with Rolinda earlier this morning. And she said that a few little delays. I said, that's fine, that's perfect. I will wait. Because what I have for you is fundamentally the most important presentation of everything for 2 days. Why do I say that? You're about to be graduates of this distinguished institution, and as such, you will not be able to self-actualize into any of the areas that are going to be talked about or were talked about unless you're employed. Am I right or am I right?
Right.
Okay, that being said, let me go ahead and survey myself. How many persons are actually actively employed right now?
Employed.
There you go. So maybe like that looks like about 10%, 5%, 6% of those years. So what I have to say is going to be very relevant to land that job. Very relevant. And for those who are already employed, this might just serve as positive reinforcement. So let me now get to the formalities of this presentation.
There we go.
Now, what was not spoken about in my bios a while ago, I was wondering who that person was about. I'm not really into that kind of thing, but because most of what you achieve is really not done on your own. Most of what you achieve is not done on your own. There's a support system, there are persons who assist you, there are persons who mentor, facilitate. And so my thing is not to focus much about what I have achieved, what I have achieved with the assistance. What I have achieved it seems like I'm up down my education, I might have to hold this thing. Yeah, I will. So what I have achieved with the assistance of the support groups, persons around me, persons who can really feel like you're down, boy, I need a little support. And when you say I need a little support, you're not actually enunciating or verbalizing, but people look at you and say, no, you need some help. So, what was not in the BIOS was the fact that I'm a part-time comedian. Yes, I am. I'm a part-time comedian. And the reason I said part-time is that it's not yet full-time because I normally use my daughter as a sounding board. So the last time I was talking to her, I was like, I'm going to get a whole heap of joke. So one day I was like, on top of my game, and she just laugh, and she's abroad, so I was talking to her on the phone. And she laugh, and I care one, and you give people joke until they're weak. Then don't recover from one. Till they give them an next one, and I keep her, and she laugh, and I said, her name is Misha. I said, Misha, think we're going to stand up comedy, you know. She just stopped laughing, same time, said, no, Daddy, you're not that funny. so that's why it's not that I'm biased, right? But I see myself as an aspiring comedian as well. And these days and times that we live in, and trust me, it's necessary. So, okay, so the presentation is there. NCU, where learning never ends. And it's not only at NCU, learning never ends. In the story of life, learning never ends. Learning ends. It's just how much you take about what you learn. But learning never ends until you're no longer here. So I think this epitomizes not only academia, but life itself. I'm quite appropriate. I like this. So, I want to call this presentation From Learning to Earning. From learning to earning. And what do I mean when I say that? I mean your vision of being a productive member, producing gross domestic product for the island, your vision of what you'll achieve, clothes, car, house, husband, wife, whichever, is all embedded in your being financially viable. So when you're in school, you have a vision. And you see all these magnates and persons who are prominent and say, I want to be that person or more than. But you're still in school. But you have your aspirations. So what we're going to do now, what I'm going to try to do is share with you how you make that transition so that you can get on the path of higher growth. Yes? So your vision of all these things is now going to come into contrast, comparison, alignment or misalignment with your viability. And whose perspective is this? Your prospective employer. So you have these grandiose ideas about what it is, what you want, but an employer is sitting somewhere, an HR manager is sitting somewhere, trying to establish if you are that person for the business. Do I take a risk? Do I take a chance on this person? So, with that being said, we're going to talk a little bit about what employers look for. And employers look for three main things, three main attributes, three main areas to assess you initially to determine if they want to take that chance by employing you. What are these areas? Your image, your appearance. Some people say how you show up. Your attitude, and that has several facets which we'll go into in a short while. And of course, what you would have established without a doubt while being at a tertiary institution, your aptitude, your ability to learn, to absorb information, to process, and also access that information readily when required. Let's start with the image. Image, your appearance, how you show up, as I said. You wouldn't want to show up looking like Bob Marley for a job in certain organizations. You show up like that when you're doing music or when you're own entrepreneur, your own man. Because once you show up like that, then there are all these stereotypes that begin to be attached to you. And so, when you show up, you have to show up in a way that is aligned with the persons that are going to be looking at you critically to make that determination. Your posture. You know, you have some young men. That is not the kind of approach you want to take to an executive organization. You want to appear upright because they say image matters. It does, certainly at the outset. And you want to display an air of confidence. Yes? Your attitude. Are you respectful? Are you well-mannered? When you say good morning, good afternoon, most Kingston people don't. I spent some time in the rural areas and found out that most country people don't do it either. Not anymore. And so, that cultural penetration and the negativity of it has actually taken over. But for me, who comes from that dated period, and as my Bible said, really fundamental, when you were in the inner city, that was the bastion of all the ambition and the honesty and the cleanliness. Now you can make a comparison with what's happening now. That will be judgmental. But all we need to do is just have a look at what's happening to our society. So your non-verbal communication, pouting and cut eye and all these negative things that, you know, it may not be important for you now. Because I don't think my colleague Mr. Della here shouldn't be affected by that when he is marking your paper. He shouldn't be. Even if he is, he shouldn't be. Because it's not that important now. But believe it or not, it is going to become very integral if you want to begin to move along this path that you intend to, having attended the institution. Are you intelligent? Are you innovative? And let's put your first interview in context. Let's put that interview in context. You're at an interview, you made an application. You submitted your resume, CV, whatever you want to call it. And so, you're told, you're lucky, you're shortlisted. Or by the very suggestion of being shortlisted, it means that here's a list. It might not be very long, short, but here's a list. Why is the list there? Because there are other persons just like you, just as qualified as you, and so you're all starting off on equal footing as far as the educational, academic prerequisites are concerned. So how do you move from a group of a shortlist to being that person? I want to share some statistics with you. Let me put on my eyes. I want to share some statistics with you. A gentleman called Sergei, these Russian names. S-E-R-G-E-I, I'll spell it for you. Sergei Klebnikov of the Forbes magazine. He's a staffer there who works in the education department. Then he did some research. And coming out of that research, he found, remember this is North American data. And you know, as I said, that I wanted to peeve, you know, why we have so many academic students in Jamaica who do have these kind of studies. I think lecturers should channel the projects that they give to produce data like this. So even if it's not accepted as national data, but it should be on your side as far as getting data about these kinds of statistics. But I'll get back to Mr. Klebnikov, K-L-E-B-N-I-K-O-V. And he said, from his study, his survey, 58% of college students think that it should prepare them for work. By university, we must get that right. Right? 58% think so. However, that's when they start the process. However, only 20% of these students actually felt ready at graduation. But that's a wonder of learning though, you know, because when you're not aware of what you're up against, the more you learn, the more you realize that you didn't really know so much. So that's a good thing. It's actually representative of what happens when you begin to learn and understand the context. So 20%, close now, just like most of us here, begin to wonder, do I really cut it? Can I really make it? Unemployment figures are A, B, C, X, Y, Z. How can I make it? So that becomes the question. Now, that troubling statistic is that 50% of recent college graduates are either unemployed or underemployed. So, mother and father, whatever means to spend all this money and you invest in yourself and your future, and then you put on hold just because of the marketplace, demand and supply dynamics. Now, it gets more troubling because this is maybe why. So here it is now. Less than 40% of employers think that university graduates are ready for work. Less than 40% of employers think that university graduates are ready for work. And I'll give you the tip. The tip is, when you think about all the variables involved, when you think about all the prerequisites required, what you're thinking, and I think, I'm so sure, what you're thinking is that these are things I need to do to get a job. And you have to do this, you have to do that. Then change the question and say to yourself, these are things I need to be. So it's not something you're putting on at some point. I might be at an interview right now, I don't know, because that's how life is. But I'm here in this forum, I don't know. But I see myself as continually being in an interview. And I happen to subscribe to this school of thought, in that we hire for passion first, experience second, and credentials third. And the reason why credentials are third, not to detract from the value, but the fact is, as I said before, you're all starting on that level where everybody has this piece of paper. So how do I look in a room of 20 persons and determine who is the one going to be? So I'm going to have to get past the fact that they all have this. Who is trainable? So we have attitude and aptitude, and then we train for skill. What you'll find when you begin to work is that they might have all these systems and processes at a particular workplace. When you go to another one, other systems and processes, not the same. So your adaptability becomes important. Okay. What are they looking for? And I should tell you that my Bible spoke to my being employed at my dear principal. I'm actually in transitioning to the next chapter of my adventure. It's an adventure. For me, it's an adventure. And sometimes we have to adjust our minds, our mindset, to treating with work as that adventure, not something that I drag myself to get some money. I'm going to ask you to, everyone, except me, to close your eyes and think about what you're most passionate about. Close your eyes, I really want you to get there. Close your eyes and think about that thing, that activity, whatever it is that you are most passionate about. Now, we're at that place? At that place? Oh yes, it seems so. Now, I want you to imagine that kind of passion for the job you're going to be or seeking to be employed. And come up your eyes now, I'm sure quite a few people had a dream to come at nightmare a while ago. Quite a few people had a dream to come at nightmare a while ago. But that's where you need the alignment. And not only to be employed, but to begin your businesses. You need that passion, that drive for whatever it is you do, even when you're not making money or the kind of money you want. Because what you will find, you look at all those persons who come on profile or wherever they are, and they show up as prominent people, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, all these people. What they really started with was that passion for what it is they wanted. And that eventually over time equates to success. So what do employers look for? Comfortable confidence. Employers want to hire professionals who are comfortable with themselves. These professionals know who they are and what they want. They are confident, but never cocky or arrogant. They are friendly, engaging, and as a result, a pleasure to be around. How do I project all of this in an interview? Well, it comes down to a few slides ago. How pleasant you are, how attentive you are, how innovative you are. One of the main issues that we have, challenges we have, all right, so one of the challenges we have is persons not having worked before. So you come to the employer and he says to you, what's your experience? Well, what you need to transmit is the things you have done that are not yet a part of the world of work, but which can demonstrate your attitude to work. What does that mean? Do you participate in extracurricular activities? Do you do work in the community? That needs to be equated to I've not yet had a job, but I have an attitude and an aptitude for work. Not yet had a job, but I did this, I did that. I spent time doing this, I spent time doing that. It was voluntary work, but I went nonetheless. I was dedicated. So, if you can project yourself positively enough, you may put yourself at an advantage. So, you're comfortable being confident. Willingness to listen and learn. And employers obviously want to have professionals who have the skills necessary to do the job. However, that doesn't mean there'll never be anything they need to learn. They don't need to learn. Know-it-alls are rarely appreciated. Humility and humanity often is. So, coming into an environment, you may find that you're working with persons who are not as educated as you are, so you bully them with your certification and you behave arrogantly around them because I have this and you don't have it. Well, an interesting little story I want to share quickly with projecting yourself. And it's online, maybe you would have seen it, a lot of things pass around. But there was a young lady who every morning going to work, she would say a very bright and pleasant good morning to a security guard. But this is a meat packing company. And that attitude, as I'm going to tell you, actually saved her life because one evening, the security guard was about to leave for the day. And he noticed, like her name was Sally, he said, but and they must say, Sally leave, Sally always pass and tell me hi and tell me everything fine and be safe and all that. I never saw Sally today. No, that's ordinary, he just didn't see a person say you're gone. But the fact is that Sally was such a nice person and he was so connected to her that it actually caused him to say, hold on now. Something wrong because one Sally going I don't know. He asked person, he seen Sally know about this Sally, he said, no, you know what? No. You need to check. Well, suffice it to say, Sally got herself locked on the inside of one of those large freezers, you know, like you go into a room as a freezer. And Sally was going to be here all night. When you can well imagine what the outcome of that would have been. the point I'm making is never take people for granted, regardless of your qualification or your skills. Make that connection. And when you're leaving school, you're going into the world of work, it becomes very important for you to be showing up as one who is willing to learn, making good connections. Your adaptability. Again, having to do with how well you work and how well you adapt to changing situations. You do a lot of that in school as well. And so you need to transfer that over into the world of work. Your flexibility. Again, this person qualified, that person qualified. This person flexible, this person inflexible. Who am I going to hire? Flexible. So flexibility, very important. Self-reliance. You have some whiz kids who make their way to university at 14 or 15. Not very many. So for the most part, we're talking to young adults here. Well, mommy is not here, daddy is not here, not with you at school, they're not going to be with you at work. And so, babies need not apply, that's how it's put here. Employers do not want to hire people who require hand-holding or constant praise in order to feel appreciated. They are looking for employers who can motivate themselves, the persons with the passion to be there. That's your motivation, right? Figure out what needs to be done and then do it. It's called initiative. Being proactive. Everyone appreciates a pat on the back from time to time, but it should be required to do your job well. And yes, teamwork. Yeah. I'm going to challenge you now. Teamwork. And all I say about teamwork is why when you're at school, at the university campus, you can't get these team projects done? Why? Or why not? Why not? Because believe it or not, I'm going to tie back into what I started saying before. These are not things to put on a list to do. These are things to be. So if you can't get group work done at the university, I don't know how, I mean, you might be that adaptable, I don't know how well you're going to transition into an environment where teamwork is a daily requirement. So consider that well. Yes, those people who leave it to one person to do everything and you know, say, Tom, we'll get the job and you will not going to get it. That's what's going to happen. Because Tom has done the heavy lifting and now has all these muscles bulging that an employer say, oh yes, strong worker, you need to be here. While you are there, you're atrophied teamwork muscles, sagging around, I can't be part of this team, I can't do nothing. Well, more than likely you will not be a part of that team. Let's talk about dependability. Employers want to have professionals who will be there to do the job every day. They don't want to waste their time with someone who's going to use all his or her sick days. Yes, I'm a benefit. You can't run them, can't write no feet at my time. I'm a peer. I have to take it. Nothing can come out of it. Well, you can't really come out of it, but you might not get anything out of it either in the long run. If you're sick, you're sick. Correct? If you're sick, you're sick. But if you're not sick, go farm sick just to get out of it. Because these things show up on a manpower report, and I'll tell you, if you do it often enough, after a while, you create a footprint. When we're doing the overall assessment of employees, we look at you. Alright? Management is getting more scientific and data driven. We see you show up, and we start make plans. Or for either make you fix it, or depart from the team. Okay? Data analytics. big time in HR. And last and most importantly, honesty, credibility, integrity, truthfulness. Yes? Key. Because everything is buttressed on this platform. Sick and show, whatever, all these things are buttressed on the platform. So, Nolan Bushnell, the individual here, he says, powerful passion and intensity. Because there's training for everything else. And once you have passion and intensity, you're trained to do anything. Now, who is Nolan Bushnell? An American electrical engineer, a businessman. He established Atari Incorporated. And he's voted Innovator of the Year by the Nation's Restaurant News. And he's been named Newsweek's, one of Newsweek's 50 men who changed America, and I want to qualify that for the better. Right? You have some people who changed America, you know, not for the better. But he's one of those who changed America for the better. Now let's talk about some, call it brass tacks, just what we should look like, because we can't talk and talk. Remember now we're in a relaxed environment, we're quite casual every day. And I think that when you mix that in with just the general lifestyle and fashion, I think in my day, we wouldn't even have this section because it was automatic. You couldn't wear what you want, right? You wear what your parents make you wear. In my time, you have to graduate from short pants to long pants. Yeah. Now we see some baby just born. Galvanized jeans and all these things. Just born. But in my day, I wore short pants right up to when I passed common entrance. And common entrance is like Jesus. I wore short pants. They used to call it the rite of passage. You can't move from one to one without you achieve something and establish yourself. But now, when you listen to music and things and you watch the TV and the music video, it's like that. So here we have now. Back to reality. See that? I read it for you, yes. Now that young lady on the right is competing with the lady on the left for a job. And I know as a recruiter who I'm going to hire, because the young lady on the right in her jeans pants and her t-shirt and her nice little name brand bag, but it doesn't cut it in the corporate environment. Right? If you're wearing a blouse, ladies, is a nice silk blouse or a cotton blouse, not too close fitting, okay? Nice pants if you wear pants or you don't want your pants to be too tight. I don't want to get too deep into that. That's an entire other matter. I just want to stick to the straight and narrow. You don't want to be looking like that. Because if you start looking like that and you get that job, careful. You have to continue and do more of that. You have to continue and do more of that. So be careful how you present and how you find yourself accepted.
From day one.
From day one. From day one. Okay? So we're looking at some other ladies who just appeared on your right. Yes. And what we're saying about the do's now. You're wearing a nice skirt, jacket outfit, right? Fitted but not tight. Jewelry in moderation. Yes. Conservative two-piece. Yeah. Skirt knee length or a little below. It's a teeny bit above, if it's above, but just here and there about your knee. Okay. Hosiery. Pantyhose or stocking. depending on the particular environment or the industry. If you're going corporate, straight in where you have to, and then it varies depending on where it is, but certainly you want to be groomed, and your dark shoes, no open toe stuff, and that should do it. For the men, what is appropriate? We're waiting to find out what's appropriate. All right, but let's see what's appropriate. We want to find out what's inappropriate. Yeah. So, check appropriate now. At the very least, casual, formal, casual. Very least. Right? Nice shirt, matching, pants. Listen. This thing, I actually see young men in suits. Suit. Linen or terylene and wool proper canpan, and the pants tight and down so like the jeans. Like a jeans. No, let me tell you. If I have to choose between that young man and some other persons, I will choose somebody wear them pants on them waist. I'm sorry. Because for me, it's not just the dress, it's an attitude. That's what you're going to bring to my place. I can't take the chance. I can't take the chance. This is my color. This color, and I mean, I have to give credit to Rizzo, that I mean, credit there, but I mean, not my original words. But you don't have to bleach for reach. You don't have to bleach for reach. Right? So, again, the bleaching phenomenon, that's a whole other demographic discussion and conversation, not for this, that's for like the rest of the year. But my thing with that as a recruiter and an employee is that when I see that person, I'm saying to myself, this person has esteem issues. This person has esteem issues. Because God never made them good enough. So they have to fix it up for him. Help God, help God the theme work. I never really did right, you never know what I do. So for me, persons who appear like that, they have an issue. Right? Especially if you have other people around them who are not doing it, then they just drop out. And then they want to fight, I'm going to work, I'm going to go to the place, I'm going to work, I'm not fight. No. You need to text that. And this is definite, in every way, shape, or form.
Oh my, that's extreme. That's extreme, sir.
Definitely inappropriate. In every way, shape, or form. But the point I'm trying to make is, you get the point, right? You get the point. You want to show in our fashion that says to somebody, I'm vibrant. I'm ready, and you just need to take that chance with me. You're not going to be sorry. That's what you're really trying to project. And as well, alright, you can wear a little fitted thing, Judge man on the right, a little fitted, but it's still a line, A little more man on the guy on the left is more into a larger fit. But we want to appear professional. We want to appear well-dressed and groomed. So let's look at the checklist. And this is just to put in perspective what it is that we're seeing. How do men dress for a corporate interview? Men's interview attire. Here are some examples. Men should always default to wearing a suit. All clothes should fit well, free of stains. Suits in a solid color. No mustard and shocking yellow and the Versace print and them kind of thing have like 40,000 flowers and color and no. Yeah, and I'm a brand, I'm a rich brand, and I understand the thing. But no. Right, for the corporate environment or any environment where you're actually required to present in a professional manner, no. So solid colors, navy, black, dark gray, long sleeve shirt, white. I like to wear white shirts. And it's a simple reason. Black and white are good. Right? That I mean, me are the black, you know. So black and white. I'm here the black. Yeah, I'm here the black. So I hardly make a mistake with that. Black and white though. And if you tip now, for those who just about getting on the thing, what you find is that when you wear a white shirt, you can wear almost any color tie to match the rest of your ensemble. Right? Once you wear white, you put anything on it and it just matches stuff on. So it's actually a very simple way to present without causing too much fashion concerns. Yeah? A leather belt, a tie. How come you know tie depending on Saturday, you don't have time to look too bad. Dark socks, conservative, leather shoes, little or no jewelry. Right? No carve up on the work. People are work big, thick carve up. Even if you have a shirt, you see that bulge, you know, to make people see that and need your clothes, you know, we know what I'm saying. Come on. So, limited jewelry. Need professional hairstyle. I'm not fighting against no rasta, I shouldn't show you why. Need professional hairstyle. Limited amount of aftershave, no alcohol. Need to trim nails. You can put you on the desk, you know, start check out your finger, your hand come up on the table and show you. You must start check you out, because I'm telling you, in such a competitive job market, employers are looking to the finest detail to make a choice. There are so many of us being churned out of the academic institutions who qualified. So we have to start looking for the distinguishing factors. And so it's important to pay attention to detail. And of course, a portfolio. I'm pretty much bigger than this. My one empty now. But, yeah, a portfolio. You understand? You look professional. And if they give you any handles like I'm getting here, you have something to put it in. Alright? So, you have your portfolio, or people really use briefcase like that, and then nothing is wrong with carrying your backpack once it's clean. You know? One of them raggedy. What do you call it now? Camouflage, print, and that. You know, a solid color. So that you maintain the sobriety. Now the checklist for the female, boy, listen. It's just like the female gender, they are more sophisticated from birth. So here, if you don't see that, we're going to write in here. In general, fashion for women is more complicated and varied than it is for men who have fewer options. It makes assembling an interview also a bit more challenging for women than for men. For instance, if you're wearing a dress or skirt, you need to decide if you should wear pantyhose or stockings, or if bare legs are acceptable. You have to work that out. And if you shave your legs or you have pulley here for your foot, or then roll up, and you know, mine not going to show. So that's your call, right? But remember, you trying to get the job. So you have to make up your mind about that. Women also need to consider interview accessories and choose an appropriate purse. Best interview bags are ones that are professional and large enough to fit a resume, but isn't too flashy. There are some fundamental building blocks of what women should wear to be a professional. To wear to a professional interview. Suit in navy, grey, black, blue. Suit skirt should be below or above the knee. As I tell you, no more than a half inch above, and you know, can be 2 inches below. You kind of want that comfortable place when you walk in. You just not show your knees and you lift up your foot to step and all that. No. So you want to be modest in how you show up. Coordinated blouse. Conservative shoes, no slippers, sandals, no thing. And no dangling earrings. The big hoop is for the weekend, not for small stuff with earrings. And professional hairstyle, neutral color pantyhose, light makeup or limited amount, perfume, clean, neat, manicured nails. And you know I say rainbow nails, right? Just neat, manicured, you know, so that you don't appear too flashy. And your portfolio as well for your briefcase. And as I told you before, I don't discriminate, not because, but yeah, you can have your thing together. As a Rasta man, you know, put your thing together like and ladies who like all these braids and stuff. Just get it put together neatly so that you appear professional while you still maintain your identity as a person. Right? You have heard it said so many times, but I'll say it again. You may never get a second chance to make your first impression. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of my very extended presentation on zeal and passion. And so, I don't expect many questions, but if there are a few, I'll take them at this time. Questions?
Remember who was here yesterday? Remember Mrs. Cox said that whenever we get this question, if there is any question, we shouldn't leave it blank. What she say you do? Who was here yesterday? When we get asked if there's any questions, what did she say you look like? Anybody remember? She said you look stupid.
No, you don't to me. I just think I did a perfect presentation.
They say your presentation was perfect.
Yeah.
I suppose her one was for the interview.
Huh?
Her presentation was for the interview.
Yes, I was just using it back. Yeah, no.
Yes.
All right.
Just one school of thought, one quick one. It is, I know there's one school of thought that says a white shirt not for interviews. It's for an entry level and a white shirt. A white or cream for interviews for executives. Do you have any comments? Because for me personally, I mean, and I'm a person who does not ever do a white shirt for interviews. And I'll tell you why. My thing is, it is too easy to get dirty. You never know what you may touch at any business, or anything. Yeah. It is easier to conceal dirt with or anything that happens. If you sweat or anything, it shows up more on a white shirt. Because you may just get nervous. So if in a similar situation, my advice would have not been white. Okay. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is I've been in love with white on black for a very long time. No, I'm serious. All right, so we're going to talk story now. So when you go to sixth form,
you wear white.
You wear white shirt, right? And some of my best days were wearing that white shirt in my khaki pants. A lot of good things happen, academically and otherwise. But outside of that, when I went to Jamaica Mutual Life to work, I actually changed the fashion trend there. Because, as I said, for me, the white is all about being able to accessorize with your tie and your suit in a manner that is not that rigid. So if you have a white shirt on, you wear almost any time. If you have a given color shirt on, like yours, you have to pick your tie carefully. So for me, you can get away with, especially tie, you can get away with most ties with that. But it's how best you feel. The key thing for us is to show up in the shirt and the tie and looking smart and professional.
Any other questions?
So,
comments?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
For me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Question for me?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Why is it that employers think that the college students are ready?
Why do they?
Why is it
Think that the college students are not ready?
Okay, why? Okay, I'll tell you why. I'm going to do a little bit of nitpicking about that. Certain academic institutions do not prepare their students as well. For example, there was a school of thought for a very long time that UTech students are more work ready than UE students. Yes. It comes down to the content and the context. The UA, for the most part, tends to be seriously steeped in the hypothetical, because you have so many lectures, you have them book them right, and you read the book, and so it gets all highly hypothetical and theoretical. Whereas now, if you know UTech as an example, tended to start giving you entrepreneurial modules and so on to get you more practical. But to be honest with you, I think that also is a reflection on who we are as a society. Because as the family unit has deteriorated, where the family used to be what prepare for work, you know. When in my time, when you leave school, you know, with your GCE, you know, you're ready for work. And then what will happen is you get into the job, and then you work your way up and you start to school again on the side and so. But you were ready for work because you have to do chores when you go home. Stuff like that, you have to go to bed at a certain time. In other words, in such a rigid environment as a child, that when you go to work, it's like, hey, I'm loose you now. So again, so it's a combination of things that causes us to not have these kinds of forums on how your child get to work.